People that are selling themselves short and thinking they're incapable. I think anybody's capable to do anything. It's just depending on how hard you're willing to work for and how consistent you're going to be towards it.
You're listening to the Kristof Lewis podcast, a podcast where I have conversations with inspirational people. My name is Chris, but my family calls me Kristof. My goal is to have as many conversations as possible with people who have forged their own path by pursuing their dreams, making them a reality, all the while emitting positivity and sharing this knowledge with others. I seek these people out and share this information with you, proving to the world that you can do what makes you happy and do what you want for a living while being a good human being. We'll talk about careers, but we'll also cover any story that inspires. Let's do this while helping each other. Thanks for listening. I'm happy you're here. What's up, my friends? Welcome to the Kristof Lewis podcast, Create Your Career. This is conversation number 166, episode number 288. Thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate your support, and I don't take it for granted. It's just so cool to be able to continuously do this, continuously learn from the guests and from you. Wow. Today was really fun. Today's really unique. The reason I believe it is unique, because my guest today is Austen Alexander, and he is active duty Navy, and I love having active duty people on here. It sheds a specific light on what I'm trying to do here. You can be in a job, employed, under contract, whatever it is, civilian or military, but you can still make intentional moves to get out, no matter how long you've been in or no matter how long you've been at that job. So that's something that Austin's done really well. I honed down on his career transition quite a bit, some of the behaviors that lead to his success, why he's made these decisions to get out, what he's going to do, how he's going to do it, why he's going to do it, so on and so forth. And at the end, we talked about mentorship. And remember, you can find this episode and all other of the conversations, the contemplations. There are 2 segments within the podcast on kristoflewis.com/podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Kristof Lewis. You can head over to YouTube if you're not already there. Subscribe. Head over to Apple Podcast or iTunes and rate 5 stars. Tell me what you like. And one more time before we get into it, I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. It is so cool to be able to have the continued support as I change the podcast around a little bit. So thanks so much. Without further ado, welcome to the Kristof Lewis podcast, Create Your Career.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to do this. What's super special about this is you're currently Navy, you're active duty Navy, and I was just telling you off camera that I think that's so cool because it can shed a lot of light on people that are actively serving right now. And I had even mentioned that, yeah, I focus on a lot of military people, but it's really just inspiration for, hey, let's highlight somebody that's doing something and has identified that they want to do something else, and this is kind of how they're doing it. So I think it's really cool to be able to do that, and I want to hone down a little bit because I still got a lot of brothers and sisters in the military, in the Navy specifically, and I kind of want to show them, like, hey, if you're not happy, because I know since I did it, I worked with a lot of people that were very unhappy. So I kind of want to talk to you, and so let's get into a little bit. Before we get into the rest of the episode, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Austen Alexander, originally from a small town in Alabama called Florence. Turned 28 here in about 15 days.
Nice.
It'll be this November. It'll be 7 years in the Navy for me, and I'll be getting out this November.
Nice. That's good. I like that. I was in for 9 years, and it's like I find it so odd, and I don't know. You've probably had this experience, but everybody's like, "Oh, shit, or get off the pot time." Like when you get like mid. You get to like 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why does there have to be a timeline for that? Like if you're in at 7 years, and you want to get out, if you're in for 10 years or 12 years or 15 years, you get out, so I guess one of my first questions would be like, why are you getting out?
So I know there are some people that absolutely love the military. They like the structure, especially the ones that have earned the rank and are in a supervisor or a commanding position, but just the freedom. Yeah. I want the freedom. It all boils down to one thing: freedom to go where I want to go, to do what I want to do. And a lot of people get out and they're like, I want to go, just party and drink and do drugs and have fun and whatnot. But I just want the freedom to not have to potentially come in at 2 a.m. or be able to travel when I want without having to request permission and wait 3 weeks for me to get permission back,
Yeah. Yeah, I do know. And so how are you gonna, what I'm getting at with this question is like, what are you doing to prepare? But like, what's your version of freedom entail to you?
My version of freedom is getting to work on my own schedule without having to go and fulfill another task.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to, I could work on my stuff all day long, and nobody could really say, "Hey, you have to devote 8 or 12 hours to your time per day to this right here,"
Yeah.
and take me away from my work.
Yeah, yeah, I don't miss those duty days, man, and like coming in at crazy hours and all the holidays missed, and it's madness. And I think I can relate to what you're saying quite a bit, and there's probably a lot of people that can relate to that. It's like I had no qualms with the Navy. I absolutely loved it. There's a lot of things I did like, and it taught me a lot from being a punk kid to growing up a little bit with the duties that
Yeah,
I had, But at the same time, I got out at 9 years. I have a daughter and I have a wife, and that's part of the reason I got out. I didn't want to not see them. I didn't want to miss more holidays and things like that. But everybody's reasons are different, and your reasons are yours. So I'm just happy to see you going after it, man. For real, like just you've identified it, and you're going after it. Are you having like? Because I have this. Are you having people that are being like, "Hey, man, you probably shouldn't get out. Have you considered this or that?" And like try to tell you
oh
what to
yeah,
do.
oh yeah, all the time. Like 80% of people in my chain of command, they're like, "You don't need to get out. What are you gonna do?" Like
Yeah.
they're like, "You need to stay in and get the benefits, and you need to retire and everything." But I'm going for it.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of set the record straight. In no way am I like bashing the Navy and like, oh, it's terrible because they tell you what to do. Like you said earlier, the past 7 years have taught me a
Mhm.
whole lot about myself,
Yeah.
about people around me. I'm more aware of myself, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. I
Mhm.
probably wouldn't be in this
Mhm.
position right now
There it is.
if
Yeah.
I didn't join the military.
Yeah. And that
But
and
of
that's
course,
that's so good. No, go ahead, please.
yeah, I was going to say, of course, there's pros and cons in each situation, and right now the cons are starting to outweigh the pros.
Mhm.
Like, and that would be freedom to do the things that I want to do.
Yeah, and it's so good that you said that. I don't think like it's not black and white. You don't have to completely dislike something to go do something else. It's in no disservice to the Navy, and I love that you threw that in there. And whether you're stuck in a career right now, or maybe you just got let go of a career or a job that you don't like pending certain circumstances as we record this in May of 2020, but it's an opportunity to do something else. And if you still are at a job or something that you don't like, if you're in the military, finish your contract, but have a plan and do what Austin's doing here. And it's just too many times, like, I was the same way. People told me you probably shouldn't do it. I was a college dropout. They said you're gonna fail, dude. Like, do not do it. And I find that it's because they're trying to get to the 20 years as well, and they're trying to get the benefits, and they are not they don't want to take the risk of getting out. And
Yeah,
I think you had mentioned earlier in the podcast already that like people were getting out and they just want to party, they want to do drugs, and they want that kind of freedom back. But you definitely have a plan. So what are the type of things that you have in your plan that are going to lead to your version of success?
so I haven't really spoken about this a whole lot to anybody really, but I want to. I'm working on a second channel. It's almost monetized. So I have my channel in which I produce stuff
Yeah.
that's more personal to me. Like I attempted this fitness test, or I tried boxing for a week. But I also have a second channel that's gonna, I think, reach a lot more people. I want to do kind of like social experiments.
Mm-hmm.
I want to create videos that convey emotion to people, whether it's happy, cheerful, whatever. So in November, I'm going full swing with that as well.
Nice.
And I want to make funny videos like You Laugh, You Lose, fire department versus police department, and I want to kind of dig myself in the community, similar to BuzzFeed, except from a veteran
Mm-hmm.
or blue collar or pro LEFD standpoint. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
No, it does. And I literally say this like every time somebody says that, I'm like, however you answer a question is the right way to answer a question, because it's like it's your life, it's your transition, and it's what you want to do. And that's what's awesome about what we're doing here. Like I said, like what I'm trying to do is share your story. You're currently serving, and you want to do something else. So it's feasible. Like the possibilities are endless. It's just like, what do you want to do? And it's like, we definitely live in a day and age where it's possible to, like, if you want to go do YouTube, you can go do that. It's not, again, it's not black and white. You don't have to have this, like, I need to have college before I get out to get a good job. Like, that's just not how it is anymore. There's so many options out there for you, for, I don't know. It's just like, I saw a lot of people selling themselves short, specifically in the Navy. They thought they weren't capable of more. They thought they weren't able to do something post-military. And quite frankly, I think it links back to what I was saying earlier about the chain of command, or some people. I'm not saying, again, we're not bashing the Navy or anything, but like people saying you shouldn't get out and convincing people that they're not capable of doing it, and that makes me upset. So,
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. People that are selling themselves short and thinking they're incapable. I think anybody's capable to do anything. It's just depending on how hard you're willing to work for and how consistent you're gonna be towards it.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So you say consistency, and I found consistency is one of the most crucial aspects to, again, my version of success. But are there any other kind of behaviors that you exercise right now that are contributing to that success that you're seeing, and the things that you want to do, and even the preparedness of you getting out of the service?
Yeah. So I guess trusting the process. I guess that would kind of be different than consistency, but kind of tied in. So of course, with YouTube, it is like a roller coaster. Some months you'll hit some great videos and make 15K. Some months you'll do, like some months you won't have a lot of hits on your videos, and you'll do half that or a third of that. And just trust in the process. Of course, when you're doing things on your own, you're going at your own pace. It's gonna be like a roller coaster. It's not like, especially in the entrepreneur side, it's not a consistent income. Some months you'll do really, really well. Some months you won't. And you just have to trust the process. And if you have 2 bad months in a row, it's really easy to get in your head like, oh, I can't do this. I need a job or whatever, but you just have to stay consistent and trust the process. I know it, and that may sound kind of cliche, but it's true. You hear it a lot for a reason.
Yo, I'm the king of cliches. I feel like every time I'm on another podcast, I'm like, I know this sounds cliche, but like this legit is what's working for me. So I don't mind saying cliches, man. Like, have at it. And it's got to be difficult. Like, so now, and actually it's funny, one of the reasons I joined the Navy is to have a consistent paycheck, because I was in the serving industry, the restaurant industry, before I joined, and I just hated the inconsistency of that. So I joined and I got that, and now I do have that. I still do have a day job. So like mentally, well, and I guess maybe like fiscally, if you want to even go that far, but mentally, how do you prepare for that? Like, how do you kind of like get yourself back into the zone of where you need to be? Because like, I feel as if that gets to you, then you're just going to create maybe crappier content, if you start disbelieving yourself. Yeah. So how do you keep yourself in the zone?
For me, I like to go back to the months that I did well. I said, what did I do right?
Yeah.
And I just I try to replicate them, of course, with different video ideas. And it seems like the videos, and I'm like, okay, this one's got to do 5 million views. It has, like, we have to do it. If I'm focusing on views and revenue, I feel like if it doesn't hit, then my confidence in myself goes way down. But if I'm just doing it for fun, if I'm putting, giving it everything and producing a good quality, entertaining experience, then I feel like it just flows a lot better. That way, if it doesn't, I'm not focused on how good it's doing. And so my confidence at that point is just, it remains higher.
Yeah, man. It's like, you're just talking about trust the process, and I feel as if you are reviewing the process that you so trust, and you're just like, it's like, I've read a lot of finance books, and people always go, this is a finance book, but you can't just be focused on the money when you're trying to make money and make a good living for yourself and your family or whomever you're trying to do it for. And it's funny, like the equivalent of that for a content creator is focusing on how many views and likes and, all this stuff. And it's really actually cool to hear you transparently say that, hey man, like when I think, and I'm the same way too. Like I'll make something and I'll be like, this is gold. There's nobody talking about this, it's so inspirational, and it gets like nothing, no traction. But when you change your perspective, it changes everything. And then again, to reiterate what Austen was saying, is just trusting the process. And I love, like, I'm a podcaster. I review my podcasts all the time. I listen to myself. How did I say things? did I cut the person off or anything like that. So I think that you're looking at your content like that with an open mind is allowing for your continued success. And I think that is a great answer as well.
Mm. It's not easy, of course. I mean, when you put 10 or 12 hours into a piece of content and you're like, okay, this is going to do great. This is going to do awesome. And it doesn't, it's very, very easy to start kind of
Yeah.
slowly getting into that
Yeah.
hole, but you got to pull
Yeah.
yourself out of it. If you don't like creating it, you shouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You should overall like doing it because, I mean, you should overall be creating it because you are passionate about it and you like doing it.
Yeah, man. And this is gonna segue into segue me into one of the things that I love that you're doing is that the videos that I've seen, at least, there are some things. Even you admittedly said, hey, I was under investigation. This was why. But one of the things that I pulled from that is not only that's a crazy story, and I'm glad you came out pretty much unscathed, but you're educating the military on policies and things like that. And that is one of the it's my stipulation to have a guest on here I'm like, are they helping people? Are they trying to help people? Or are they just like rocking it? It's cool to be rocking it, but I want to help people, or I want to highlight people that are helping people. So I just wanted to give you some feedback that I think that's awesome that you're doing that. And then that leads me into my question, hence the prior segue is I always like asking, why do you help people? And it sounds like a simple, obvious question, but I do think that the question promotes the answer. So my question to you, Austen, is why do you help people?
So I don't think somebody can truly appreciate helping someone until they actually get feedback from someone they've helped.
Mm-hmm.
And I started on YouTube. I started making informational videos about the Navy and fitness videos. And, I got a couple comments like, oh, cool video, great video. But the ones that really stuck out to me was like, hey, I was really feeling down today. I watched this video and now I'm at the gym commenting this message.
Yeah.
And it made me feel great. Like my content is actually doing something for people. And when I started to reach a lot of people through the fitness, a lot of times I'm aggressive. Like I try to motivate and inspire people. And I tell them like, hey, go get out and pay some dues today. And when I started reaching a lot more people, I started getting a lot more comments like, wow, today I felt lazy, but I watched this video and now I'm at the gym. And it feels great. And getting to hear actually like people's perspective and people's life stories sometimes, that's a huge reason, if not the reason, that I keep pushing to inspire and reach a lot of people and motivate others is hearing their specific situation. Like, and they get into very specifics, which makes it more personal to me. And it lets me understand and kind of put myself in their shoes,
Yeah, I do know. I totally agree. That's one of the reasons I do this podcast because I mean, I literally I want to, or I should say I'm asking these questions specifically because like, I really want to know like what was going through your head because I know what was going through my head through my transition and through things like that. And now as a content creator for the last couple of years. And there's a lot of those droughts, as you were saying, where I don't feel good about myself. I have questioned about stopping everything and just completely going off the grid. But it's like right before I do that I'll get a slew of awesome comments or people reaching out and DMing me and being like, dude, that really hit me. It's awesome. Keep it going. Like, you have no idea. And I just think it's like we were talking about selling ourselves short. And I don't think that we give ourselves enough credit, right? Because we may be focused only on the analytics of content creation or the analytics of just what we see life, like the metrics of life. And if we focus on what's important to us, I think that's going to be a driver for what we're trying to do and helping other people. So I love that answer.
Yeah, it's like when you see numbers on a screen, like, okay, my video got 120 views. Some people are like, they're freaking out because they feel like it's not a lot. But think about it, that's 120 real people. Dude. Like, I always try to put the people in a room, like mentally, say, okay, 1,000 people watch my video. If I put 1,000 people in the room and they were all watching me, it would be a completely different story. And even if I was able to reach, 5 or 10 people, like actually portray a message to them, it would be worth it for me. So any content creators out there, if you're creating content and you're getting 20 views, 30 views, think of that's actual people that you reached online. If you could affect 2 or 5 or a third of those people, would it be worth it to you? I think the answer would be yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's great to visualize it like that. I'm a very visual person. I've got my whiteboard here amongst other things, but I think when you put them into a room like that, even one other person, right? If nobody was listening to this and we were speaking with each other as we are now, that would be
Hmm.
awesome because you're teaching me things. Hopefully, I'm shedding maybe a new perspective on something or something
Yeah,
like
sure.
that. So, on a singular level, it's very impactful. And I love that you brought that back up because I really want to articulate to not sell ourselves short, no matter how many people, because we're just in such it's a societal norm to be focused on those metrics and to
Yeah.
focus on what really matters is what really matters. So, that's really cool, man. So, this is a lot of awesomeness and I really enjoy it. But, like, tell me about something that didn't go right and may have completely derailed you. And maybe you thought you were going to stay in the Navy, or maybe you thought you were going to be a YouTube creator anymore. Are there anything that you've experienced like that at all, or maybe even before the Navy? And if so, how did you get over that and overcome?
Yeah. So something that sparks my memory is I never, I mean, this is pretty much a recent decision for me.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the growth and everything, I want to run with it. And about probably a year and a half ago, I still thought I was going to stay in the Navy. I was preparing for an exit because I think we should all prepare for an exit.
Yes.
Exit, the sooner the better, to give yourself some option there. But I thought I was going to stay in. I was already focused on my next duty station, where I wanted to go, if I was going to bring Sarah with me or not. I think the thing that's a huge factor is finances. People have that
Yeah.
solid paycheck, people have that insurance, they feel comfortable. And for a while, YouTube was not a viable source of income for me. My first paycheck was like $34. My second one was like maybe 50 something dollars. And I was like, okay, it's cool. But I said, I'm never going to be able to make a living off of this. So at that point, I didn't even put into perspective that I was going to get out of the Navy. And that
Mm-hmm.
was back in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
like September, October, November 2018. So I started, kept creating because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making an entertaining experience. I enjoyed reaching people and inspiring people. And I was never really preparing myself financially for that exit. But as the YouTube finances, they started increasing. I said, maybe it's possible. And I asked myself, would I get out of the Navy to create content full time? And the answer was yeah. So that was a big turning point for me. And I think in recently, I made the decision. It was this year, actually, in February, March, that I was going to finally get out of the Navy. It was a hard decision for me,
Yeah.
but that was a major turning point for me
Mm-hmm.
this year. And as far as anything stopping me, I feel like I don't know about stopping me, but the thing that really gave me the confidence was the finances, of course, because you need
Mm-hmm.
finances to live. So there was a major turning point in which the finances started to really become a plausible
Sure.
situation,
Yeah.
And before that, when I was investigated by the Navy, that was put a damper in my YouTube channel, of course, but at the
Sure.
time, it still wasn't a viable source of income.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that wasn't going to stop me. I would still just
Mm-hmm.
kind of keep creating my own
Yeah,
videos.
man.
But yeah, I hope that answers the question.
It does. It
Did it?
definitely does, Austin, because like think about like it's so easy to talk about somebody else under investigation, but I've never talked about this, but or should I even?
Oh, here we go.
There's a point. Well, I'm definitely not going into details, but there was a point in my career which literally nobody knows about, and I'm not going to say where it was or when it was or whatever. So good luck. But there was a investigation on something that I was a part of, and
Mhm.
it's freaking terrifying. So yeah, that's definitely the right way to answer the question because when I was facing that, like the scariest shit goes through your head. Like I'm gonna get kicked out of the Navy. They're
Right.
gonna make me delete my YouTube channel, all that shit I work for. Like in your sense, I'm just thinking like if I was in your position and that happened to me, like that would be terrifying. So I think that's a great answer because it could have derailed other people, but it didn't. And here we are having this discussion, asking these questions in a way that you are going to be getting out before the end of the year. And that is going to be the way you're going to do it. So I think that's great that you did that, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
of course, all the bad things were going through my head. I'm going to get investigated. I'm going to get court-martialed. They're going to kick me out.
Yeah.
They're going to constantly find stuff wrong on my YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. And I think for some people, they might, because it went through my head a little bit too, is to archive my videos and to kind of just ghost myself from social media. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick this out. I'm not going to do that. I believe that I was in the right.
Yes.
And the investigation ended with an admiral coming down and saying, hey, I love your videos. You're good.
That's badass.
Yeah. So,
And it's,
so
did it
it
have
ended
like the
well.
reverse effect? Did it even inspire you more to create even more at that point? I mean, that's kind of cool to have somebody
It
of
did.
that to come down.
I'd constantly been getting friction from my chain of command a little bit,
Yeah.
and other chains of command. They were contacting me through email, contacting my chief, and they're like, hey, he's got this video. They were talking to my SECO, and of course my SECO and the senior enlisted advisor, they liked my videos. They said, hey, it's cool. Yeah, I was constantly getting friction from Big Navy. And when the admiral came down and said, hey, I like your videos, you're shining a positive light on the Navy, it was
Yeah, man.
it was a relief, because it was like
Hell yeah.
me and Big Navy were going head to head, and then finally Big Navy's like, hey, congrats, you're doing good things.
What a cool example is that? So what I pick out of that, amongst a plethora of things, is like, do what you know is right, man. Like, do what you know is right, and you stuck to your guns. You didn't like cower away. And how frightful could that be? Like, whether it's a huge corporation that you're up against, but you're doing the right thing. Shit, keep on doing that thing and stick to your guns, and it's so cool to hear that person come down and just be like, yeah, I like your videos, keep on doing them. And even more so that you're putting the Navy in a good light, which from everything that I've seen, you definitely are, and you do have a separation, man. So that's super awesome and inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
I was looking for the coin, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Sarah loves to organize all of my things.
And your schedule,
likes-
she sounds awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I'm busy.
Here it is. It's the Chinfo coin.
Oh, nice. That
I
looks
don't know
good.
if we have any coin collectors out here, but
Well, I'm one, so you're talking to one if we're going to talk about numbers.
yeah, there it is.
That's awesome.
So it was a pretty cool experience for him to come down and recognize me like that.
Yeah. It gives you a great push, like continuing your momentum, and that's powerful, man. In that case, no, I'm really curious. Always talking about, and I appreciate you showing me that coin. That's really cool. I got some really special ones that I just love. Like, obviously you commented on my room, and I just love collecting shit, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we don't typically see ourselves doing these things alone. We were just talking about your wonderful partner behind you. She is helping you organize things in your life. So shout out there, you shall get. And I think that's awesome. So like, and maybe that's the answer to this question, but I do want to see where you take this. And I'm very acknowledging of the support you get from her. But have you had anybody in like a mentorship role to be able to help you, and maybe in or out of the Navy, but have you anybody, because there's a lot of naysayers, right, saying like, maybe you shouldn't do it, but has there been anybody that's shown you like good support or guidance or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say there's one. It's David Marin. He was a retired captain from the Navy. He was my previous CO. We would always go for runs and stuff, and he was never really a mentor to me back then.
Mm-hmm.
But when he retired from the Navy, we kind of went on more runs. He'll come into California sometimes, and we'll run, and we'll just get into these deep conversations, about life. He'll ask me what I'm doing, and he'll set me straight. He's not afraid to tell me that, that's right or wrong. So he's a great guy. He was in the Navy for 34 years, I believe.
Sure.
Retired as an 06. Great guy. And he's really fit. So, yeah, he's somebody that I look up to.
And so how did that, and for non-military folks, that is his former commanding officer, the head honcho in charge. So how did that relationship, and I'm going to be careful how I ask this because you're still in the Navy, but he was just your CO, and you guys went, I'm sure you had some part of, you were a fitness guy.
Yes.
And how did that
Yeah,
happen? Essentially what I'm asking is like, I am always curious in asking this question, how people obtain the mentors that they obtain in their life, and how maybe somebody in the military could do that.
So like I said earlier, in when I was in Bahrain with him for about a year and a half, he was never like a mentor to me. He
Yeah.
wasn't actually until he got out of the Navy. And back then, we had the COs group. There was this him, Captain Marin, and along with 6 or 7 other guys. We would always go running, and we were like the elites, because he was a big runner. The PT group would probably run about 1.5 miles, and then the COs group would probably run 5 or 6 miles, and we would sprint it. So I think he always looked up to us to keep him motivated and keep pushing him, and I think that's why we kind of gravitated together after he got out of the Navy, is because that was a big transition for him, and we can kind of bounce things off of each other. Like I could bounce my ideas off of him, and I can kind of keep pushing him to keep staying fit, keep running, and doing lunges and stuff like that.
That's cool, because it's like having a mentor and a mentee, but also having equal accountability partners. And that is powerful, man. Like when you're able to do that, that's really cool. I've actually haven't heard an answer in regard to mentorship answered really in that way of like, cause it's equal, right? You have to you don't want to mentor somebody if they don't want to be mentored, right? Like that's not going to work. Like you're into physical fitness. Like you don't want to train somebody physically if they're just going to screw off,
Yeah, exactly. And I like that you said that, accountability partners, because I don't know if he considers himself a mentor to me. He might consider me a fitness mentor to him. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely just accountability partners.
Yeah, and everybody has something. Yeah, exactly. Again, I'll beat it down because it coincides with what we've said multiple times, which I'm totally okay with, is because it's part of the podcast, is not selling yourself short. But even in that role, when just because somebody's maybe older than you or has a higher rank or is in a higher position in your company or whatever it is, it doesn't mean that you don't have something to teach them. There's definitely something you can teach them. There's definitely something that they don't know, and that you can be of value or of service to them for. So that's a great example, man. I really appreciate it. And this has been a really fun and informative podcast, and I know it's going to help a lot of people in or out of the service and inspire them to do that. It's given me a lot of information. But before we get out of here, how can we find you? YouTube, Instagram, website, anything like that, all the goodies.
Yeah, I'm just going to give people my address.
Perfect.
So it's not. I'm just kidding. So on YouTube, it's just my name, Austen Alexander. That's AUSTEN, Alexander. On Instagram, I'm pretty active. I'm pretty foolish on Instagram. I make a lot of funny, completely random stories, because I think on Instagram, you see a lot of negative things and people take it way too seriously. So I try to be an outlet for that. And my Instagram's AUSTEN_Alex. That's at Austen_Alex.
Easy day. You will be able to find all of that and more in the show notes and see the awesomeness of which is awesome. Austen. Awesomeness. I am like tongue twistering myself here.
Yeah,
the awesomeness of which is Austen on YouTube, Instagram, and the like. So, all right, Austen, thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure. This has been really good. As always, you definitely delivered, and it was fun. It was informative, and we just hit everything really well. So thanks again, and have a great rest of your night.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.